giving you the encyclopedia version. I'm giving you like the
Summary.
the big picture summary, okay? The goal was to be free. And so there was a declaration of being free, choosing a life outside of a corporate system that was being imposed upon them through taxation and all sorts of other stuff, okay? The goal was to create a paradigm where all that was on paper. You're free, you have no other authorities other than God. Now go be free, go do it, and self-govern, and don't let anyone steal your rights, okay? Over the years, we've had many, many wars, and think about like the Civil War that opened the door for wartime powers to be put onto paper. 1917, 1933, we've had pretty horrible things that have happened to free people that paved the way for what we're seeing right now with these emergency powers. Our assembly, back in August of last year, created peacetime. So we've declared peace on the land. We have started the restoration process. Actually, we started the restoration process before our Grand Peace Treaty was declared and delivered. So we started restoring California in January of 2020, like right before the pandemic, okay? But I want to share with you that we have a summoning authority. Our summoning authority is the Federation of States. Now, the Federation of States is all 50 states saying, we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we're ready to do this. We're ready to be self-governing. We're ready to restore the republic. Who's with us, right? So that's what started this whole thing. So you might find yourself feeling that way. You know what? I want my country back. I want my state back. I want my life back, right? Well, if that resonates with you, then you're in the right place, because that's exactly what we're doing. We are not a top-down structure telling you what to do, how to be, what to think, but we are here to make sure that when you choose a life of self-governance, we're kind of like the bumper guards on a bowling alley, right? Have you ever been to like a little kid's birthday party? Some of you may not have, but you know, at a bowling alley, if you go to a little kid's birthday party, they put these like inflatable bumper guards in the gutters so that when the kids go up, you know, and they're like carrying the ball, you know, and then they like drop it. And it's like, you know, it won't go in the gutter because that would be really boring, okay? So it bounces off the gutters and then eventually makes its way to where some of the pins fall down, okay? So the Federation of States is that. And so are the volunteers that are sort of trying to encourage self-governing, because we certainly cannot tell you what to do. We can't tell you what to do. We can ask you to be living a life of integrity and honesty, and to follow the 10 Commandments and God's law and the laws of nature. We can't make you. That would be like the antithesis of what we're trying to do here, which is give you the wide open non-container of a container, right? So that you can lead the life that you were born to lead without the restraints and the burdens of like a poisonous, toxic agenda bombarding our lives and our children and our grandparents and everybody else. It's all of us that we're just like, are you kidding me? Now what? For crying out loud. You know what I mean? So there's 3 things that you need to be doing this in a way that's not going to land you in jail. You might have heard of stories of people going to prison. Yes? Anybody? Oh, I heard you're one of those sovereign citizens, right? You may have heard of this term. So sovereign citizen is a corporate term that was essentially criminalized to keep people away from choosing freedom. Right? So that's not what we are. That's now a corporatized term to put you in jail. So part of what we do in this assembly is give you the tools that you need to avoid using words that will land you in jail. But it always starts with don't harm anybody and don't harm their stuff. It's pretty simple, right? Honor the God of nature and don't harm anybody other stuff. That's really it. It's super simple. It's so simple that it's kind of hard for some people to grasp. And it involves making public declarations about who you are. And some say, I don't need to do paperwork. No. And actually, at the end of the day, that's true. At the end of the day, if you are so clear about who you are and what you're doing here, and you're not harming anybody or their stuff, technically, you could argue your way out of any difficulty because we are peaceful and we are upholding the public law. But we encourage paperwork because you're the early adopters, okay? The rest of the world needs proof. I need proof. Show me your papers. You can't do that. Really? According to who? God put me here. I'm here. I'm alive and well, and I'm not hurting anybody, right? Oh, well, that invisible virus that you might have up your nose, we got to test for it. Please. So we do paperwork, not because we need it, but because until we fix that, until there are enough of us, and I don't mean a majority, we're not a majority rule situation here because we're not a top-down paradigm. However, it certainly is helpful when you need evidence, because for some reason this world is all about the evidence. So we help you with your paperwork, which is just declarations and affirmations about who you are. So when you do paperwork, you're declaring you're alive and well, and you're pulling yourself out of a corporate system, which might seem impossible, but really it all exists up here anyway, right? There's a great fraud that happens. So like the typical scenario is that a baby is born and they're in the hospital right there, and it's either chaotic because there's something wrong, or it's like blissful and fabulous and everything's great, but either way the parents are distracted. Okay? So there's like a few nefarious things that happen. It's like black magic. It like just happens. And we're generationally used to it now, right? It's normal for them to steal the DNA from the newborn. It's normal for them to take a black ink soul print and steal the life force with the black ink, which is indicative of death. It's normal for them to start injecting hepatitis B and vitamin K. And then, clipboard. The mother and the father fill this paperwork, this government paperwork out, and then the scene of the crime is complete. They have the informants, which are the mother and father become informants. They have the blood, they've got the black ink footprint, and they got the paperwork. And then it goes to the county and it gets registered, where all property that the government owns gets registered. So it's like accidentally, on purpose, because of paperwork, a newborn went from being a free living being to being this piece of corporate property. went from being a newborn son or daughter to being now a minor. And the mother and the father go from being a mother and a father to being a parent. So parents and minors have codes and rules and regs and statutes and laws and ordinances that apply to them. And that's where CPS suddenly can take away your son or your daughter if they find, for any reason, that you're a negligent parent. Right? Now, I'm not saying that there's no abuse out there. Some sons and daughters are being abused, and that is awful. But that aside, most average mothers and fathers want to be mothers and fathers. And it's like, they're not abusing their children. But, if you don't give them their vaccines on time, suddenly you're a negligent parent, and this minor is in danger. And that minor is corporate property in your custody. It's so weird. So then there's words like custody. The minor is in the custody of the parent. What? So all the legalese comes in and usurps your God-given right to just be alive and free.